Today felt different in a way you could not easily explain. Not loud, not dramatic, but subtle, like the air itself carried a different weight as you moved through it. There are moments when life shifts without warning, and the mind is the last to understand what the body has already sensed. You may have noticed small emotional waves, brief surges of energy, or sudden quiet pauses in thought that didn't quite match your surroundings. Those are often the first signs that something deeper is unfolding beneath the surface of ordinary time. In this moment, the message is simple. Your attention is being called inward, not out of fear, but awareness. There is a sense that something has been realigning quietly in your path, as if unseen hands were adjusting pieces you didn't even know were misaligned. You are not being asked to overanalyze it, only to recognize that not everything meaningful arrives with explanation or noise. There is also a feeling of protection woven into this shift, as if guidance has been closer than usual, keeping certain disruptions at a distance. Even the idea of resistance seems to have softened today, replaced by a steadier current moving underneath everything you do. Sometimes the most important shifts are the ones you cannot point to, but you feel in hindsight, as clarity slowly catches up with experience, and what feels uncertain today may reveal itself as alignment tomorrow. There is no need to rush understanding, only to remain present with the quiet intelligence of what is unfolding around you, even when it has no name yet, or still becoming known to you. Today, that portion was unlocked. And this is why I am telling you, the atmosphere changed around you, without asking your permission, because this was not just about desire. This was a divine scheduling moment. You might notice your intuition suddenly got sharper today. Even the way your eyes looked at the world changed. You observed people differently. You sensed energy differently. You felt like your inner sensitivity got upgraded, without anybody telling you. That is because the atmosphere of resistance that once surrounded you is losing authority over your timeline. Something you struggled for years to make sense of will begin to make sense soon. Some situation you thought was permanently blocked will open like a hidden door that was waiting for the exact moment. You are entering a window that not everyone will have access to. This is why Archangel Michael says, God needs your attention now, because the shift is not something you wait for. This shift is something you align with. You have been tested in silence. You have been heard in silence. You have been betrayed in silence. You healed in silence. You carried pain in your spirit without telling anyone. That silent pain became the evidence heaven needed to approve this new timeline. It changed you from the inside so deeply that God could not ignore what it produced inside your character. This shift today is the moment where your purpose finally intersects your pain. Everything that tried to destroy you will now be required to witness your elevation, and you will feel a strange calm come over you as you silently notice how things begin to align without force. This moment is the alignment moment the enemy never wanted you to experience, because when this moment activates, heaven begins to operate differently around you. You will notice certain people begin to reveal who they are without you asking. You will notice energy-draining connections start to fall off by themselves. You will notice your spirit get uncomfortable in places it used to tolerate. This is all part of the shift. When the atmosphere changes around a chosen one, anything connected to old timelines cannot survive inside the new air. You will begin to see signs show up faster, back to back, not separated by weeks. The flow of synchronicity will increase. Your inner clarity will feel like it's suddenly multiplied. Opportunities will begin to appear, not because you chase them, but because heaven releases them into your path. Now, this shift today is not about convenience. This shift is about synchronized destiny. Archangel Michael is preparing to reveal a revelation that will feel like a spiritual earthquake when you receive it. The magnitude of this shift is not small. This shift will write what you thought your next 6 months would look like. The script of your future is no longer matching the cycles of your past. You are being positioned to experience a level of divine acceleration that only comes after someone survives a long season of unfair delay. The atmosphere changed today because something that was frozen is thawing. Something that was blocked is breaking. Something that was held back is now being released. And Archangel Michael says, this shift is irreversible. No past demon, no past heartbreak, no past mistake, no past energy, no past season, no past betrayal has the authority to reverse this. You only get a few days like this in an entire lifetime. Days where heaven decides a new chapter begins, and the old cannot follow. Days where the spiritual climate around your name gets a heaven's registry. Days where angels receive new instructions concerning your protection and clearing of your path. Today was not a random day. Today is a marked date in heaven. And God needs your attention now, because this is not the moment to get distracted by your old wounds. This is not the moment to replay old memories. This is the moment to allow what God shifted to settle inside your spirit and allow your belief to match what heaven already set in motion. Because this time the breakthrough comes toward you. There will be a moment in the upcoming hours where you will suddenly feel a surge of peace settle into your chest without any trigger. When that happens, that is when you will know the new timeline fully anchored. From that moment forward, nothing will feel like you are forcing yourself to survive anymore. This is when you begin to walk with divine ease. This shift today is the pre-announcement of a major revelation that will expose what held you back and illuminate what belongs ahead. Stay aligned. Stay aware. The revelation is coming. Stay till the end. Every new shift in heaven begins with a recalibration of the way your spirit receives information, and that is exactly what is happening to you right now. This is why today felt like a strange emotional day. Not emotional and breakdown, but emotional and unusual sensitivity and alertness inside your spirit. You didn't even consciously know what shifted, but your soul started paying attention in a different frequency without you realizing it logically. There are certain moments where God moves quietly, and only the chosen ones feel it first. Today was one of those silent but extremely powerful moves. The atmosphere around you changed because a divine green signal was released on something that was pending in heaven for too long. This was not about a small blessing. This was the approval of a bigger destiny architecture that needed angelic military protection before release. Archangel Michael has been positioning your timeline to collide with a breakthrough that was blocked by emotional interference, low vibration, energies, and cycles of fear that tried to manipulate your sense of worth. Today may feel like a clear internal turning point, as if something heavy that you have been carrying is finally beginning to loosen and reorganize itself into a more stable place within you. It can feel less like chasing outcomes and more like stepping out of situations where you had to overextend, explain yourself repeatedly, or try to earn clarity that should have been natural. In that space, there is a quieter shift happening. Instead of forcing connections or decisions, you start noticing what remains steady without effort and what fades when pressure is removed. This is not about dramatic revelations or people suddenly becoming different overnight, but about your perception sharpening as your boundaries become more defined and your tolerance for confusion decreases. Some relationships or interactions may naturally lose momentum, not because of conflict, but because the exchange no longer feels balanced or meaningful. At the same time, you may notice certain people responding differently to you, more clearly, more cautiously, or more respectfully, simply because you are no longer meeting everything with the same level of emotional availability you once did. This can create a sense of distance in some places and ease in others, but both are part of a broader recalibration, where you are no longer available for patterns that drain you. What once felt emotionally intense may start to feel unnecessary, and what once felt uncertain may become easier to see for what it is. The core of this shift is not control over others or outcomes, but a return to inner steadiness, where your choices feel more grounded, your direction feels less reactive, and your sense of self no longer bends so easily to instability around you. Your next level cannot include old contamination. Your next season cannot be polluted by people who never respected you emotionally. The shift is separating polluted energies from your timeline, because God needs your attention to be focused fully, not divided, not confused, not emotionally manipulated. Your emotional stability is about to become heaven's most protected asset. There is a version of you emerging out of this moment that will shock even you. You will realize that everything you thought was broken inside you was actually being rebuilt in silence into a stronger structure. And this new structure inside your spirit is what heaven needed before elevation could be released in public form. The atmosphere shift today confirmed heaven's confidence in your readiness. Now listen carefully. Archangel Michael says, your purpose is entering a stage where divine visibility increases. You will begin to attract opportunities, solutions, connections, clarity, and open doors without announcing anything. You won't need to explain yourself to anyone. You won't need to convince anyone. Your energy will speak before you speak. Your presence will deliver spiritual authority the moment you enter any environment. Something huge is being prepared behind the scenes that will shock you, because it will not require you to repeat any old cycle of pain, waiting, or begging. This shift means the universe rearranged itself in your favor. Everything that was slow now accelerates. Everything that was heavy now lightened. Everything that was delayed now moves into fast forward. The shift is not only about spiritual alignment, it is also about destiny, wealth, emotional healing, restored confidence, healed self-worth, new timelines, and restored identity. When the atmosphere shifted today, heaven released new instructions to angels assigned to your life, telling them it is time to clear your path forward and secure your next elevation. Archangel Michael has been waiting for this activation moment. Ye have been waiting for the day heaven would authorize the release of what was held. Today is that day, and this energy will continue expanding over the next days, weeks, and months, until your outer reality begins to match the internal spiritual shift heaven triggered today. Your future is not delayed anymore. Your destiny is not lost. The divine timeline is not late. Everything is right on schedule, and God needs your attention now, because the next revelation will be the part where your eyes finally understand why your past pain had to happen exactly the way it happened. You are about to understand a deep truth that will finally bring peace to the parts of your soul that stayed confused for years. Before this shift, you were surviving. After this shift, you will be manifesting. Before this shift, you were holding on. After this shift, you will be receiving. Before this shift, you were trying to keep yourself together. After this shift, heaven will strengthen you from the inside until no emotional storm can shake you again. This is not a temporary emotional boost. This is a permanent spiritual upgrade. And everything that unfolds after today will confirm that this was not a normal day. Something rare and once in a lifetime activated around your destiny. And this activation will rewrite how your future unfolds. Share this video, comment, and subscribe, because this story is unfolding in real time right now, and someone connected to your destiny is meant to be guided by this aim shift through your sharing. Watch next revelation. The next phase of this shift begins inside your silence, because silence is where God speaks the loudest and reveals the things that words cannot hold. You will notice that your heart will begin to detach from old emotional anchors without any breakdown or emotional panic attached to it. The shift today in the atmosphere removed the invisible rope that kept pulling you back into fear, doubt, regret, and emotional instability. And this is why your spirit feels unexpectedly lighter, even though nothing physical changed yet externally. There are some shifts that happen slowly over years, but this one happened instantly. It was the kind of shift where heaven pressed a new command into your destiny, and the entire spiritual realm had to obey without negotiation. Every spiritual resistance that once held you hostage now has no permission to influence your timeline. The spiritual traffic around your destiny got cleared today, and this is why today feels like something enormous is approaching. There are blessings, breakthroughs, emotional reunions, destiny connections, financial openings, stability moments, and spiritual confirmations that are now moving toward you with acceleration. You will no longer feel like you are waiting on life. Life is now moving toward you. You will no longer feel like you are trying to pull your destiny up with your bare hands. Destiny is now pulling you forward with divine force. This shift changed the entire direction of spiritual gravity around your life. Archangel Michael is preparing you for a revelation moment where everything that confused you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually will suddenly start making sense in a supernatural clarity. Your past will no longer feel like a painful memory. It will become a decoded message. Your heartbreaks will not feel like punishments anymore. They will feel like revelations of what was never meant to stay. Your disappointments will not feel like losses anymore. They will feel like redirections towards something bigger that God had hidden. You spent too long believing that you were late, were unlucky, were left behind. But there are moments when life feels like it turns a page without warning, where something inside you recognizes a shift even before anything external can be fully explained. In those moments, you may notice opportunities appearing in ways that feel timely rather than forced, as if circumstances begin to align with choices you have already been preparing to make. This doesn't require forcing meaning onto everything, but it can feel like a period where clarity grows gradually and decisions become easier because your perspective is shifting. Sometimes what changes is not the world around you, but your ability to recognize what was always available to you. When that internal alignment begins to settle, life can feel less like struggle and more like movement with direction, even if everything isn't fully clear yet. From a spiritual perspective, this can be understood as a season of realignment, where inner growth begins to influence external outcomes in subtle but meaningful ways. Even so, it is important not to rush interpretation or assume that every event carries a dramatic meaning. Often the shift is gradual, built through consistent inner reflection, patience, and the way you respond differently to familiar situations. Ultimately, what matters most is how you choose to engage with what is unfolding, whether you interpret it through fear, curiosity, or trust, and whether you allow yourself to move forward with openness while still staying grounded in your own lived experience and practical reality. That balance helps you navigate change without losing clarity, and it keeps you connected to both insight and action as your path continues to unfold over time with clarity. You cannot go back to thinking small. You cannot go back to doubting your worth. You cannot go back to accepting less than emotional respect. You cannot go back to environments that drained you. You cannot go back to conversations that reduced you. You cannot go back to people who mishandled your heart. Your next chapter demands a higher version of you, and God is making sure you maintain that posture. This next chapter will require mental strength, emotional discipline, and spiritual clarity, because this level of breakthrough will bring attention, opportunities, and elevation that require maturity to sustain. And now heaven sees you are ready for it. The energy shift today means you are entering a window where your life will begin to gather momentum. Momentum is powerful because it multiplies everything. When momentum enters, ideas move faster, clarity becomes sharp, creativity increases, direction becomes obvious, and divine timing becomes exact. You are stripped down and rebuilt so you can carry momentum without collapsing again emotionally. There are destiny conversations that will happen soon with people who will carry keys to the next level of your purpose. And these keys will not be force. They will come naturally, organically, effortlessly, because heaven will place these individuals in your path at the exact moment your spirit is prepared to recognize them. The new atmosphere around you will attract these divine connectors like a spiritual magnet. And when these connections appear, you will know immediately they are not accidental. You will understand the purpose behind every delay you survived, because those delays were never rejection. They were synchronization points, preparing you for the right alignment moment. And that alignment moment has begun today. There is also a specific emotional shift coming soon, where you will feel closure without needing anyone to apologize. You will feel healed without having to force a conversation. You will feel released without needing validation. This level of healing is a sign that heaven is pulling you into your true season of breakthrough. The old emotional identity can't survive in the new spiritual timeline. This is why your heart is being reset from the inside. You are stepping into a new identity that is built on trust, purpose, growth, and divine clarity. You are not operating from survival mode anymore. You are now stepping into manifesting mode. What is about to unfold is not a random surprise. It is a divine response. Heaven is responding to everything you endured silently. Heaven is responding to everything you overcame without getting bitter. Heaven is responding to every tear that turned into wisdom. Heaven is responding to every night where you did not break, even though you wanted to. This is the shift that will become your testimony. The breakthrough that is coming is not just about blessing. It is about restoration of identity, restoration of purpose, restoration of emotional wholeness, restoration of destiny, direction. And Archangel Michael says, heaven shifted in your favor, because now your story must begin to reflect who you truly are instead of what you suffered through. Stay aligned. The revelation that is coming next is bigger than what you expect. Something you never saw coming is about to reveal itself in divine clarity. Something that once felt impossible will suddenly feel natural. Something you once feared losing will be replaced by something better you never imagined would be yours. Do not ignore the signs that will begin showing up back to back. Pay attention to unusual feelings, prophetic dreams, sudden inner peace, unexpected clarity waves, new sudden ideas, and subtle internal nudges. These are all indicators that heaven is guiding you step by step into the next chapter that was unlocked today. Don't ignore. There is a new inner stability forming inside you that is not loud, but extremely powerful and grounded. You will start noticing that you no longer react to situations with fear first. You respond with understanding and inner awareness. This is because the atmosphere shift that happened today has upgraded your internal processing. And now, your emotional system is operating from a place of divine confidence instead of survival mode. You have stepped into a frequency where your spirit reads energy faster than people's words, and your soul now recognizes truth before your mind even analyzes anything. You will see your sensitivity evolve into discernment. You will see your intuition evolve into spiritual intelligence. You will see your perception devolve into higher clarity that normal people might not even understand yet. They will not understand how you suddenly know things without proof. They will not understand how you suddenly predict the emotional intention behind certain people before they speak. They will not understand how you suddenly stop entertaining certain conversations before they begin. This is what happens when heaven shifts the atmosphere around a chosen one. As this transition continues, there is a subtle but noticeable shift in how others perceive your presence. People who once underestimated you begin to recognize that something within you has expanded beyond what they previously understood. This recognition often happens quietly, without confrontation or explanation, as your growth becomes self-evident through your behavior and emotional stability. You no longer feel the need to prove anything to anyone, and this absence of validation seeking creates a strong inner foundation. There is a quiet pressure that arises in those who once misread your intentions as they witness your consistent growth without noise or announcement. We can reframe divine replacements as life naturally clearing space for healthier alignment and more supportive paths ahead. What leaves your life is not necessarily punishment or loss, but often a redirection toward environments that better match your evolving mindset and emotional clarity. In many ways, this process feels like a realignment rather than a loss, where what no longer fits your emotional or mental direction naturally falls away to make space for experiences that are more stable and more meaningful in the long term, while you continue to grow into a version of yourself that responds to life with greater awareness, deeper emotional balance, and a sense of grounded confidence that does not depend on external approval, but instead on internal alignment and steady self-understanding that continues to mature over time in ways that feel both natural and sustainable as you move forward with clarity, intention, and calm presence, shaping each decision you make along your path with patience, understanding, and quiet strength, guiding every step you take. You will be surprised when divine replacements show up in a way that feels better, healthier, safer, and more aligned than anything you experienced before. You will receive emotional replacements, connection replacements, opportunity replacements, and timing replacements. And these replacements will not feel forced. They will feel natural. They will feel like they were always meant to be written into your destiny. There is also a restoration process happening quietly inside your heart. You will begin to love differently. Your love will become selective, intentional, and spiritually guided. You will not attach to people out of loneliness anymore. You will not allow your emotional wounds to pick your future anymore. You will not confuse familiar energy with destined energy. And now your spirit will choose alignment, not attachment. You will no longer tolerate relationships that drain your soul, because heaven is making your emotional boundaries stronger to protect your elevation. Your emotional value is rising. Your spiritual value is rising. Your destiny value is rising. And because heaven shifted the atmosphere, today you are entering a season where the universe will respond differently to you. You will attract opportunities that once ignored you. You will attract clarity that once seemed unreachable. You will attract clarity that once seemed unreachable. You will attract understanding that once felt confusing. You will attract alignment that once felt distant. This shift is not just about destiny movement. It is about destiny attraction. There is a purpose behind why God needs your attention. Now the next revelation that is about to unfold is something that will rearrange your expectation of the future. You think you know what is coming, but haven't prepared something even bigger than what you imagine. Something that will transform how you see yourself forever. Something that will redefine what you believe you deserve. Something that will force you to reevaluate the idea of delay and realize it was actually divine protection all along. There is a new frequency opening around your timeline now, and this frequency is not familiar to your past self. Your past self never operated in this level of spiritual clarity, emotional stability, and quiet divine confidence. This is why you may feel like something around you is expanding, even if you cannot physically see movement yet. Your soul knows the shift before your eyes witness the outcome. Your spirit knows before the physical world manifests the evidence. Today's shift activated a destiny acceleration that will now begin unfolding in quiet supernatural order. Your mind will begin to run into sudden moments of realization, not realization from fear, but realization from clarity. You will know when to walk away. You will know when to stay still. You will know when to move forward. You will know when to speak and when to remain silent. You will begin to trust the flow instead of fighting the unknown, because now heaven is guiding your instincts with higher precision than ever before. This is not self-control anymore. This is divine command. Alignment feels different now, because heaven is literally steering your spirit. This new timeline requires you to pay attention to subtle shifts in your emotions. There will be moments where you feel sudden calmness for no reason. That calmness is not accidental. That calmness is confirmation. Heaven reveals the arrival of destiny through peace, not panic. When the breakthrough gets close, heaven's silence is the noise around your spiritual field, and you are entering that zone right now. Your inner peace is becoming the guiding anchor of this new chapter. This atmosphere shift also removed invisible grief that was still hiding inside layers of your soul. You carried emotional weight that you never spoke about. You carried silent fear about whether you would ever reach the season that was promised to you spiritually. You carried pain about situations that ended without closure. But the shift today erased the authority that those emotional wounds once had over your life. That pain cannot control your future anymore. That pain cannot influence your next decision. That pain cannot sabotage your next connection. That pain cannot speak louder than purpose anymore. Instead, your soul is speaking from healed identity. You will begin to attract emotional clarity in your relationships. People who are meant to be aligned with your destiny will not confuse you. They will not drain you. They will not lower your vibration. They will not make you second-guess your worth. They will treat you with respect, emotional care, and spiritual support, because alignment always reveals itself through emotional safety. The people who cannot match your new vibration will slowly disconnect on their own, because heaven is pushing them out of your frequency field, gently. There is a person who will enter your timeline soon, who will not trigger your old wounds. They will connect with your healed identity. This connection will feel spiritually aligned, emotionally peaceful, and divinely guided. Heaven is positioning someone who will carry significance into your path, because this chapter of your life requires supportive alignment, not graining attachments. You must understand this clearly. This shift today is not only about breakthrough. This shift is about destiny protection. Heaven is filtering everything around you now. Heaven is blocking what could compromise your future. Heaven is securing the pathway so that no spiritual interference can intercept what is coming. This is why this moment is rare. This is why God needs your attention now. What is unfolding in your life right now is bigger than a temporary breakthrough or a lucky moment. It is the beginning of a season that will place you in spaces you once believed were reserved for other people. Doors that stayed closed for years are starting to move, and the most surprising part is that many of these opportunities will arrive when you least expect them. The same people who once overlooked your presence will suddenly recognize your value, your wisdom, and the quiet strength you carried through difficult seasons. You are stepping into conversations, environments, and connections that once felt completely out of reach, not because you chased validation, but because life has been preparing you in private for what must now happen in public. Every setback forced you to grow in ways no one could see. Every lonely season taught you how to survive without applause. Even the moments when you questioned your direction were shaping the resilience you now carry naturally. Nothing you endured was meaningless. The delays that frustrated you were building timing, maturity, and clarity that could not have been developed any other way. What once felt like rejection was often protection, and what felt like silence was preparation happening beneath the surface. Now the shift has begun, and it carries a powerful sense of revelation with it. Very soon, you will understand why certain doors never opened, why some people disappeared without explanation, and why separation became necessary before elevation could truly begin. The answers are closer than you realize, and when they arrive, everything that once felt confusing will finally make sense. It is closer than you think, and when it arrives, it will change the emotional direction of your future permanently. You will also notice in this next part of your life, you will stop doubting your spiritual sensitivity. You will stop questioning whether God actually hears you. You will stop wondering whether heaven is really directing you, because the clarity coming next will be undeniable. You will see evidence. You will feel confirmation. You will witness alignment unfold in real time. This is the season where heaven proves what you believed in silence. This is why this moment is so important. This shift today marked the beginning of the evidence era. Until now, you carried faith without visible proof of adversar hit, the manifestation stage. The spiritual becomes physical. The invisible becomes visible. The delayed becomes active. The promise becomes present. This is the transition you are stepping into fully and permanently. But before we step into the mass of revelation that is coming next, you must prepare your belief system. Your belief cannot shrink back to survival thinking. Your belief cannot operate from fear anymore. Your belief cannot hold on to old identity patterns. Your belief must grow into alignment with the future heaven is calling you into, because belief is the bridge between spiritual activation and physical manifestation. Archangel Michael is guiding you now toward a deeper acceptance of who you are becoming, because you are no longer the version of yourself that suffered silently. You are now the version that manifests loudly, without forcing anything. So stay present, stay aligned, stay receptive, share this video, comment, and subscribe, because the next revelation will be the part where heaven begins unveiling the specific direction of this breakthrough, and this will prepare many people who are connected to your destiny alignment. Watch next revelation. The next phase of this shift is the unveiling stage, and this stage begins when your spirit finally becomes stronger than the memory of your pain. You are stepping into a chapter where your past identity no longer directs your future alignment, because the shift today disconnected you from the emotional patterns that used to sabotage your forward momentum. The version of you that used to bend, shrink, apologize for your sensitivity, tolerate disrespect, force acceptance, that version is dissolving, because God has activated the identity that was chosen before your birth for divine purpose. Archangel Michael is not preparing you casually. He is preparing you because this atmosphere shift is the doorway into a destiny timeline where everything begins moving with supernatural direction and divine speed. You will begin feeling a new level of emotional safety inside your own body. You will realize that you are not afraid to trust anymore. You are not afraid to receive anymore. You are not afraid to let good things happen anymore, because this shift today removed the internal emotional block that once convinced you that blessings were temporary or conditional. You were never unworthy. You were never forgotten. You were never abandoned by heaven. You were being conditioned and fortified, so when the shift activated, you would not collapse under the weight of what is coming next. You survived a season where your soul was being trained to hold more. This next chapter will be the first time in a long time where your future feels bigger than your fear. You will feel yourself wanting to move forward instead of staying stuck in hesitation. You will feel yourself wanting to speak your truth instead of shrinking into silence. You will feel yourself ready to walk into opportunities without questioning your right to be chosen. The shift is not just spiritual. It is emotional liberation disguised as divine promotion. You are entering the identity you were always meant to live in. There will also be a moment very soon when something you prayed for silently, without telling anyone, will begin to take shape unexpectedly. And this manifestation will shock you, because it will prove that heaven was listening, even when it looked like nothing was happening. It will prove that your silence was still a prayer. It will prove that your tears were still a petition. It will prove that every private moment of pain you survived was actually a divine deposit into your new identity. You are not just entering alignment. You are entering fulfillment. Your spirit now has authority. Heaven does not respond to pain. Heaven responds to identity. And now heaven sees identity inside you, not desperation. Heaven sees maturity inside you, not emotional panic. Heaven sees clarity inside you, not scattered internal confusion. This shift is revealing you to yourself, and this is why Archangel Michael says God needs your attention now, because what comes next must be received with belief, not fear. In the near future, you may notice that new opportunities, conversations, and decisions start arriving in a way that feels less chaotic than what you have been used to. Instead of pressure or confusion, there is a growing sense of simplicity in how things present themselves. Choices that once would have triggered overthinking may now feel more straightforward, as if your inner sense of direction is becoming easier to access. This doesn't mean everything will be obvious or effortless, but it does suggest that your ability to recognize what fits you is strengthening. You may find yourself responding more quickly to what feels right and stepping away sooner from what doesn't, without needing to mentally justify every decision. Over time, This can create a clearer pattern in how you move through situations, where intuition feels less like doubt and more like quiet recognition. Experiences that once felt like setbacks may also begin to take on a different meaning in your perspective. Instead of seeing them only as losses, you may start to understand how they helped redirect your attention away from paths that were not sustainable for you. Similarly, when certain people or situations fall away, it becomes easier to see how that space allowed you to avoid unnecessary stress or misalignment, even if it didn't feel that way in the moment. With this shift in understanding, there is often a softer internal state that develops, less urgency to control outcomes, less tension around uncertainty, and more trust in your ability to navigate what comes next. It's not about knowing everything in advance, but about feeling more anchored in yourself while things unfold naturally around you. This is what happens when spiritual maturity activates. You are no longer attached to alignment. This is why people around you will begin to sense your transformation without you revealing details. They will not understand what happened inside you, but they will feel the shift through your presence. You will begin to speak less emotionally and more purposefully. You will begin to detach quicker from low vibrations. You will begin to honor your inner peace above everything else. Your nervous system will stabilize. Your inner voice will become more direct. Your spirit will not tolerate manipulation again. This is the protection heaven gave you through this shift, and something massive is waiting on the other side of this internal change. There is a breakthrough moment approaching that will validate this entire transformation. And when this moment arrives, it will not feel surreal. It will feel deserved. It will feel natural. It will feel like the world is finally catching up to who you always were spiritually. You were chosen before you were wounded. You were destined before you were disappointed. You were called before you ever felt confused. Pain did not define you. It just refined you. This shift today is completing the refinement stage. And what comes next is the unveiling of who you actually are in heaven's eyes, now made visible in this physical realm. This revelation that is approaching is not small. It will change the direction of your life. It will change how you plan. It will change how you dream. It will change how you walk into rooms. It will change how you choose relationship. It will change how you define success. And the world around you will begin noticing this shift as evidence, not theory. You are entering a phase where heaven begins to confirm everything you believed without seeing. The next part will begin decoding the exact direction your destiny is about to move toward, because now you have stepped fully into the frequency of manifestation. Stay till the end. The shift you entered today is now beginning to target the physical world you live in, not just the spiritual realm where the activation first began. You will begin to see subtle external signs that mirror the internal transformation that has been building inside you through every layer of this message. The atmosphere around you changed today because your next chapter is not waiting for permission anymore. Your destiny is not seeking validation anymore. Your purpose is not seeking proof anymore. The divine alignment that heaven confirmed today is already moving your reality into place in a quiet, strategic, and precise way. Nothing that is happening next will be random. Every encounter, every moment of peace, every unexpected opportunity that arrives, every sudden moment of clarity will be aligned with divine intelligence. You must understand something clearly here. When heaven shifts the atmosphere around a chosen one, reality begins rearranging itself of its own will. People you have not spoken to in long periods may suddenly think of you. Doors that were once sealed may begin showing cracks of entry again. Conversations that once held no progress may suddenly open new pathways you could not see before. This shift is heaven rearranging the chessboard around your life, positioning you in such a way where you will not need to struggle to get to the next level. The next level will come toward you because you have already become aligned inside. You have now reached the moment where your identity begins guiding your destiny instead of your wounds guiding your decisions. You are no longer operating from fear responses. You are no longer operating from survival instincts. You are now operating from wisdom, spiritual sensitivity, emotional discernment, and inner silence that is connected to divine instruction. You do not need loud signs anymore to recognize alignment. You will know immediately, through the whisper, inside your spirit, which direction belongs to you. This whisper will be your new anchor. This whisper will be your new compass. This whisper will be your direct line to heavenly direction. There will be sudden divine acceleration now, not because heaven is rushing your timeline, but because heaven is removing the invisible traffic that once slowed your movement. People with hidden jealousy can no longer interfere. People with hidden resentment can no longer direct your path. Sighs. People with mixed intentions can no longer block what belongs to you. God is ensuring that your path forward is cleared in a way that does not require emotional war or draining battles. This shift is strategic. There's a way this shift can feel less like being overwhelmed by life and more like being gently reorganized by it, where things begin to settle into a clearer internal order without forcing you into constant emotional reaction. Instead of tension or urgency, you may notice a growing sense of anticipation that doesn't come with fear attached to it. It feels more like quiet awareness that something in your life is developing, even if you cannot yet point to what it is. That kind of anticipation can sit in the body as calm alertness rather than anxiety, like your system is learning to stay open without bracing for impact. Over time, this can change how you experience your daily emotional rhythm. Thoughts that used to spiral quickly may slow down, not because problems disappear, but because your internal response becomes less reactive. Sleep may feel deeper or more restorative, and mornings may carry a lighter emotional weight than before. You might also notice subtle shifts in how your body holds stress, as if your nervous system is gradually releasing patterns of constant vigilance and adjusting to a steadier baseline. Even breathing can feel a bit more natural, less restricted by overthinking. This doesn't mean everything outside you is suddenly resolved, but rather that your internal state is becoming more capable of handling life without constant strain. In that sense, the change is less about external certainty and more about internal regulation, where your mind and body begin to feel less like they are preparing for difficulty and more like they are adapting to stability, clarity, and a slower, more grounded way of moving forward through whatever comes next. There is also a massive financial transformation attached to what is coming next. Something that once seemed extremely far from you will now begin to come closer step by step. This financial transformation will not come through stress or panic. It will not come through force. It will not come through taking on unnecessary burdens. It will come through alignment, ease, clarity, flow, and divine timing. The opportunity or source connected to this financial shift will arrive in a way that does not feel chaotic. It will arrive quietly and naturally, the same way this atmosphere shift arrived inside you. Something huge is coming that will redefine your understanding of destiny resources. You will realize that what you thought was impossible is not only possible, but it was always part of heaven's plan. Waiting for the exact moment your identity was strong enough to hold what was already written for you. You are stepping into a season where you will no longer feel like your life is happening to you. You will feel like your life is happening for you, and this feeling will ignite an entire new form of confidence inside you. You survived the season where nothing made sense. You survived the nights where you questioned your path quietly. You survived emotional storms that should have broken you forever. You survived periods of life where everything looks still, motionless, delayed, and confusing. But today prove that silence is not inactivity. It is development. Silence is where heaven builds the chosen ones. Now the chosen one in you is stepping into active timeline fulfillment. You are now entering the era where your future begins revealing itself piece by piece, sign by sign, moment by moment, until you finally understand why everything took this long. Timing is not punishment. Timing is precision. Timing is protection. Timing is destiny alignment. And this timing has finally reached convergence. This moment is rare. This moment is divine. This moment is permanent. The path ahead of you will not look like the path behind you. You are not repeating anything. You are elevating. You are transitioning. You are stepping into fulfillment. Every chapter you enter from now on will reflect more alignment, more clarity, more peace, more confidence, and more divine orchestration. Something enormous is getting ready to appear in front of you. And when it does, it will be the proof that heaven was rearranging everything silently, so that when this blessing arrives, it will not be temporary. It will be sealed. Something huge is waiting for you. When a chosen one crosses into this frequency of divine confirmation, the world around them begins to respond differently. Even if the world itself is not changed physically yet, you are now in the realm where spiritual truth is beginning to convert into physical reality. Step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment, you are entering the stage where the unseen becomes seen, where the invisible becomes evidence, where faith becomes manifestation. The atmosphere around you shifted today because heaven decided that you are stepping into the physical manifestation cycle that was delayed, blocked, restricted, and interfered with for years before this moment. Today marked the day where heaven said, there is no going back. Today marked the day heaven said, you cannot return to who you were before. Today marked the day where the new version of your life begins to take physical shape. You will begin to notice that the kinds of thoughts you have are changing. You are not thinking from broken memory anymore. You are thinking from future destiny alignment. Your mind will begin to think in strategy instead of fear. Your focus will shift from survival to building. Your outlook will shift from questioning to receiving. Your internal compass will shift from doubt to clarity. There comes a point in personal growth when you stop feeling the need to over-explain yourself to people who were never really paying attention in the first place. Not because you become cold, but because you begin to understand that your inner world is not meant to be on constant display. Something about your communication shifts. You notice that your voice no longer rushes to fill silence or defend every intention. Instead, it slows down, settles, and becomes more deliberate. People may even start to respond to you differently, as if they are hearing you more clearly than before. Even when you are saying less, you stop repeating yourself just to be understood, because you realize understanding cannot be forced. There is a quiet confidence that starts to form, and with it, your presence feels more grounded and harder to ignore. You begin to notice that when you do speak, your words land differently, carrying more weight, simply because they are not diluted by constant explanation. This is not about becoming distant, but about becoming selective with your energy. You protect your inner world without announcing it, and that protection naturally changes how you show up in conversations and relationships. Over time, silence becomes less uncomfortable and more intentional, and you no longer feel the need to fill every gap just to ease other people's discomfort. You start trusting that what is meant to be understood will be understood without forcing it. This shift creates a more stable internal rhythm, where your energy is no longer scattered across unnecessary explanations or emotional overextension, and you begin to conserve your attention for what actually deserves it in your life. You are now building a life that proves it without needing permission. In this new season, you will notice that opportunities will show up exactly when you are emotionally ready for them, not when you are desperate for them. Desperation attracts delay. Identity attracts destiny. And now, you are operating from identity instead of need. You finally know who you are spiritually. You finally know your soul value. You finally understand that not every connection, not every response, not every attention deserves to be a part of your life path. You are now becoming selective from wisdom instead of fear. This selectivity will protect your destiny from contamination. And there is another dimension to this shift now beginning to unfold. The world will begin revealing the hidden truth behind certain situations you were confused about. You will see clarity in areas where you once questioned everything. You will see truth reveal itself without you trying to pull it out. You will see people expose their real intentions through their actions without you pushing for answers. Heaven is revealing every hidden intention because your next season cannot be built on false energy or unclear foundation. You are stepping into a timeline that demands purity of alignment. There is something specific connected to your next season that requires your emotional readiness and heaven needed to ensure that your heart would not sabotage what is coming. This is why this atmosphere shift first happened inside you before it began changing your external world. Heaven always transforms identity before it releases destiny, because identity is the container for blessing. If identity is not healed, blessing leaks. Now you are stepping into blessing with healed identity, and this is why heaven is confident in your timeline. You will begin to sense a new level of faith rising inside you, not because someone forced belief on you, but because belief became your natural state. This kind of faith does not feel like striving. It feels like knowing. It feels like recognition. It feels like sacred memory activation. It feels like a soul finally remembering its spiritual contract. This level of faith attracts miracles. This level of faith magnetizes divine opportunities. This level of faith reveals why everything had to happen the exact way it did. Now pay very deep attention here. Something that was once impossible is going to become accessible soon. Something that felt unreachable is coming closer. Something that felt like it was never meant to be found will begin making its way toward you. The divine shift that happened today did not only remove resistance, it released pathways. Heaven has opened a frequency where divine alignment can no longer be stopped by human interference. The next breakthrough coming toward you cannot be blocked by anyone's opinion. Disbelief, jealousy, doubt, or negativity. Heaven sealed this chapter for you. You are also entering a stage where divine timing will shock you. Events will unfold in ways that appear impossibly synchronized. You will meet people at the exact moment that matters. You will receive clarity at the exact second you need direction. You will be guided step by step in silence. Heaven is going to lead you without noise. The same silence that once felt empty will become the silence that now feels like a divine navigation system operating in your spirit. You will also start receiving sudden bursts of inspiration that feel too strong to ignore. Some ideas will show up in your mind with such clarity and force that you will know immediately they are not coming from your human thought. They are coming from divine alignment. These ideas will lead you into expansion. These ideas will be part of the destiny blueprint heaven is releasing. You are in a season where ideas are not random. Ideas are direction. Everything that comes toward you now is part of something bigger than you imagine. And the reason heaven needs your attention now is because you are entering a timeline where your decisions will directly shape manifestation speed. The more aligned your decisions are with peace, clarity, and identity, the faster manifestation will unfold. You are not being rushed. You are being positioned. Nothing about what you're feeling right now has to be interpreted as pressure. In reality, it may be better understood as preparation, the kind that builds quietly before anything outward changes. There are seasons in life where it seems like you're being pushed, but often what's actually happening is that your internal capacity is expanding to meet something larger than what you have handled before. You may not have all the language for it yet, but something in you is shifting. Your responses, your awareness, and the way you relate to uncertainty. This is where life begins to feel less like forcing outcomes and more like recognizing direction. Instead of constantly chasing clarity, You start noticing moments where things naturally align, where decisions feel less heavy, and where opportunities seem to meet you halfway. It's not about losing effort, but about reducing unnecessary struggle that once felt normal. As this internal adjustment continues, your external experiences can begin to reflect that change in subtle ways. You might notice that what once required constant pursuit now unfolds with less resistance, not because effort disappears, but because alignment improves. In that sense, what feels like a turning point is often a gradual recalibration of how you move through your own life. And while it may not be fully understandable in the moment, you can begin to trust the process as something that is shaping your ability to respond with more clarity, steadiness, and intention moving forward. Over time, this shift becomes easier to recognize not as coincidence, but as a steady unfolding of your own growth into something more grounded and aware.